Can someone please explain to me how the hell are they doing this? How a watch like this exists? Explain to me how can they do this and how can they charge so little for so much quality? Like I'm genuinely gobsmacked. It is clearly obvious that you can get some proper bargains on AliExpress at this stage. But this is just another level of, this is just another definition of bargain. So first of all, for a bit of backstory, I am very familiar with Addiesdive watches, but I've never reviewed one. I've never had one on the channel. And I heard they're a good budget brand, but never actually had hands-on until now. So in case you haven't heard about them, I don't know what channels you're following on YouTube, because this is pretty much everywhere. And also you should follow me too on YouTube, and and subscribe would be absolutely marvelous. So for a bit of context, Addiesdive, or Addiesdive, I think it's pronounced Addiesdive, is a budget brand on AliExpress that mainly produces homages and competes with the likes of Cadison, Steel Dive, and perhaps Militato watches. Again, a link down below to the store and the watch. Most of their watches are in the $100 range, and if all of them are this sort of quality, then this is just ridiculous value for money, if you ask me. So what are we looking at today, and what is so special about this? This is the Addiesdive 2030, or according to the back of it, the Deep Sea Hunter. Actually, the name is on the dial as well. And at the time of writing, this retails for $55. All right, it's $55. Let me put that in perspective. What can you get with $55? If you live in Ireland, it's a night out. It's a night out, and you can get 4 or 5 pints of something. Won't even be enough for the cab ride home. In regards to the model number, I don't know if this has any meaning to the brand or if it stands for something. I just basically don't have any idea, or they haven't given any indication of what it could be. Unfortunately, these are some of the trade-offs that you need to make sometimes with watches like this, but it's not the end of the world. We're watch nerds and we're cheap and we always look for specs, so that's not a problem for us. We see beyond the model names. Upon first impressions, the thing that strikes you the most or grabs your attention is the overall quality in hand, and also that dial, and also the fact that this is still $55. Come on, like honestly. Don't get me wrong, the entire watch is not perfect, but definitely it feels like it costs more than $55. In terms of dimensions, it is not a big watch by any means. It has a 36mm case, a lug-to-lug of 46 with female end links, thickness of 11.6 with a domed mineral crystal, and a weight of 90 grams, sized up for my perfectly sized wrist. It wears like a 36mm watch, but I think it looks perfect, absolutely perfect for my 6.3 inch wrist. I do prefer my watches of this type on the smaller side, but I think that if you're 7 inches and above, maybe this is not for you. But on the other hand, this has that familiar explorer look that pretty much looks good on all wrist sizes, no matter how small the case size is, which I think is one of the reasons why this little watch is such a hit. If someone asks me tomorrow for a day-to-day watch under $100, honestly, this would be on my top 5 choices because of the way it wears and the fact that it just blends with everything and the overall look. And speaking of look, the case is finished way better than you'd expect to get for $55. This is made out of 316 stainless steel, because you'd probably expect maybe it's not made out of stainless steel at this price. No, it is. It's polished on the sides and a bezel and brushed on top of the lugs with sharp transitions. No chamfers or anything, but honestly, I don't expect it for the price, and I do appreciate the well executed simplicity. Honestly, slim profile with just weight, a screw down case back, and also a screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position. And yes, the screw down crown means that it has 100 meters of stated water resistance. And it's elements like this that just make it so appealing. Just giving the buyers what they needed for $55. Honestly, just giving people peace of mind. Granted, the crown has the Addiesdive logo on it, which is definitely not the most appealing, but you won't be staring at the crown all the time. And while we're complaining, the brushing on the lugs doesn't match the brushing on the links, but why would I care about that? Honestly, this watch overall has so much more to offer me to even care about those two things. And speaking of caring, I do care. Let's talk about the star of the show, that is that beautiful sandy dial. Now, texture dials can be a bit of a hit and miss, especially when they cost $55, especially, in case I didn't mention that, but not this time. No,
not this time.
They also do this in a blue and a brown, which looks, well, the brown looks actually like sand, but to me, I think this is the best looking one because it's the most subdued out of all of them. I genuinely don't know what they did or how they did it, but this is another one of those right elements that make a cheap watch like this look the part. The AR coated mineral crystal also offers some nice bluish tints that just makes that dial pop. We have all applied indices with the sword style hands that just works all together too well. We have text at the 6 with the logo at 12. The only thing that more or less ruins it for me and also ruins the dial again is that logo. For once, I would have loved for them just to leave the name there and not the logo, just write Addiesdive. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but again, overall, beggars can't be choosers, right? In terms of lume, there is no lume, so sorry to disappoint, no scientific P-lume test at this time. And I think overall that is a better choice because I would have associated the poor lume, which would have been expected at the price point, with the actual price, if that makes any sense. And I was like, yeah, it's $55, it's gonna be terrible. So I think without it, this is a better watch, as weird as that sounds. This way, I'm just happy living a lie, saying to myself that this watch costs more, this watch costs more, knowing that it doesn't. Overall, I think the dial is the main selling point of this watch, 100%, and I hope they continue making this model. Under the hood, we have the VH31 movement, which again, saying it again for the fifth, sixth time in this video, is one of those right elements. This is powered by the Seiko Quartz VH31 movement. It keeps the price down, it keeps the thickness down, and it takes 4 times per second as opposed to the 6 to 8 times per second of the auto movements. To me, this is what this watch needed. The mechanical feel without any of the drawbacks, and I feel that that wouldn't have been appreciated again in this watch if it had an auto. I know it's crazy because we keep banging on about automatic movements and again, bang for buck and value for money. But look at it this way, if it had an automatic movement, in order to keep the costs low, they would have had to cut costs elsewhere. And this wouldn't be the right choice and wouldn't make the watch where it is. So I think all these small elements of giving the customer what they needed and giving the watch what it needed for the $55 was the best idea. So no, quartz is fine for me. And moving away from this, we have the bracelet. So this is a 3-link oyster style with solid end links and with a milled clasp. And this is again a proper 3-link oyster style, and it's decent. It's not jingly jangly at all. Also, the upper clasp is pressed, I should mention that, but that is thick steel. And again, we have 5 holes of micro adjustments. I know that I had cheap watches on the channel with cheap bracelets that were also good, but why? Those, it would have given us just 2 micro adjustments. So again, 5 holes of micro adjustments. So very well done, Addiesdive. Like I said, the bracelet is not super jangly and it just works well in this pool of right choices, as I like to call this watch. Unfortunately, you still have to see that logo on the clasp, but again, it's not the worst thing in the world, and you can just always keep your wrist pointing down with the clasp. And with that, guys, we get to my final thoughts on this. And I think the earlier description where I was talking about the bracelet was the right one here. this watch is a pool of right choices. It's like Addiesdive just made a survey and asked what watch nerds want the most in a watch that cost $55. And they just said like, okay, these are the facts, we'll just make a watch with it. And I know I bang on about Cadison on this channel and you know how good they are as a brand. And don't get me wrong, Cadison is just amazing. But Addiesdive just edges, like it's just getting very dangerously close to that budget crown. And with that, guys, this is the end of the video. That was my review for the Addiesdive 2030 or the Deep Sea Hunter. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think about Addiesdive. What do you think about the watch, if you have one or if you're looking to purchase one. Again, links down below. Thank you very, very much for watching the video until the end. Click a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't so. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.